Have you ever gotten so frustrated with your mental and physical health that you just throw the whole kitchen sink at it in an attempt to fix it? This week, we're going to talk about how you shouldn't do that and why Zach is an idiot. But first, this is the Fit Mess, where together we learn to develop habits that help us live beyond our mental health struggles to create happier, healthier lives.
He's Zach. He lives in the future with his anxiety.
He's Jeremy, and he lives in the past with his depression. And we get together once a week in the present to share the obstacles we face and how we overcome them. Well, it's officially been 20 hours since I've put any food in my mouth. All I've been drinking or eating is just water. And, of course, 1 cup of black coffee. So don't say anything wrong.
I'm going to start with how these conversations usually start between us when there's no cameras rolling. What the hell are you doing that for? That seems crazy.
I just need a reset. In the past, I had always I'm doing a 3-day water fast. And in the past, I did it like once a quarter and just took 3 days, nothing but water, let everything flush out. And it was always painful, but I always felt awesome afterwards. And I haven't done it in 18, 19 months. The other day, I've talked about it on the show a couple of times. Just the last 6 or 7 months, I've just been out of my funk. I got sick and with something bacterial, and I didn't take any antibiotics, and it really threw me down a set of stairs. And now I'm back, but I got out of all my old habits, and I had enough last week. I need to get out of my own way. I'm sick of my own shit, so I'm here resetting it with a water fast, playing around with all kinds of vagus nerve stimulation techniques to calm myself down, meditation and reading, and as we have talked about in the past, always start small with little steps. And I guess that applies to everyone but me, because when I was going to say,
you're doing it the most extreme thing I can think of. Deprive yourself of food for 3 days and start dabbling in all of the things.
We do tell people to start small all the time. And I have never followed that advice, and you know that.
That I can say is 100% authentically true.
I jump in both feet, arms, hands, head first into whatever it is I'm diving into. And I have just felt so off for the last few months, and I can't do it anymore. So I'm just diving right back in. The thing is most of what I'm diving back into, yes, a water fast is a little bit extreme, but most of what I'm diving back into is just stuff that was there commonplace 7 or 8 months ago. So it's not as big of a lift as if I had never done any of these things. Right. So moving for, the next 30 days, no rest days. I'm just making sure I move in some way, shape or form, whether that's a walk or, it doesn't have to be CrossFit, doesn't have to be throwing heavy weights around.
Right.
But it's got to be movement in some way, shape or form. And I've just been so off my game lately.
Yeah.
Work stress has been higher than normal. And while I'm really good at handling high pressure situations, even some high pressure situations still get me. So anyway, I'm not following our own recommendation. I'm not eating anything for 3 days, nothing but water. But I do intermittent fasting most days. So I feel a little hungry, but nothing too extreme. My mood is pretty good. Everything's fine. Don't ask me that in 30 minutes because I might blow up at you.
Exactly. A couple things. You posted something the other day on our Instagram page, and I think Facebook too, about the doing a 30-day challenge, and so you alluded to that here. Oddly enough, I think you and I are in a more similar boat than I think either of us realized. Between the travel I did a few months ago and trying to reestablish a routine, and then adding some trail running to it, I ended up getting an injury, which was compounded with another injury, which I've since re-injured, and there's been a lot of just sitting on my ass recovering and trying to figure out what can I do, right? How can I still move? How can I still do something to not completely break the habit? And, my current injury is a back injury, which fucks everything up. I can't really go lift anything because it hurts. I can't stand here for too long because it's going to hurt. I can't sit here for too long because it's going to hurt. So I don't have one of the key foundations that I need to manage my mental health. So it's a similar thing. I'm trying to go, what can I do? And for the most part, it's been water. If I can get in water where there's not that compression on my spine and compression on my back, I can swim, I can move around. And so that's what I'm doing. Not a tremendous amount, but it's enough that so far I've been able to keep, the monsters in my head pretty quiet. But that's the root of all of this that we're talking about. Like, we're not sitting here telling anyone how to live their lives. So hopefully you came to us because you struggle with something. There's something in your head, that some story you tell yourself about what a piece of shit you are, why you're a victim, why life's in your way.
All the time.
All the time. And so we just try to share, hey, would we start feeling that way? Because I don't really feel like that most of the time. But when I'm in this phase, when I'm not able to use all of the tools that I've built to keep me sane, it gets harder. And all of a sudden, the thing at work feels like it's my fault when it's not. The fight that happened at home that felt like it's my fault, but it's not. Like, whatever the thing is, it's usually rooted in I'm not doing what I need to do to take care of myself. And so to your point about what you are now doing, yeah, somebody hearing this is probably going to think that's pretty extreme. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't suggest you do that.
No.
The reason that I think you can is because you have done this and more. So this feels like a small step for you. Anybody who's like never experimented with any of this, I would never say, hey, step 1, don't eat for 3 days.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. I mean, that, to your point, like, I have done this multiple times before. I know exactly what's going to go through my head when I go to bed tonight, and I know exactly how I'm going to feel tomorrow. And I very purposefully started yesterday because Sunday I need to do something that I need energy for, and it's currently Friday. I started on Thursday. So I'm going to be able to eat again Sunday. And I timed it so that I'm going to eat right before I have to go do the thing I have to do that's actually going to require a little bit of energy. So I know that I'm going to be sapped of energy tomorrow, right? Because my body's like, dude, where's the food? Where's the Doritos you've been eating for the last 3 weeks? I have to say this one thing. So my girlfriend, at her house, she buys snacks and stuff for the kids and things like that. She gets Nutter Butters.
Oh, dude.
I can't. I have no willpower against them. None. Yeah. I'll eat like 5 of them in one shot. Like, yeah, I have no willpower. Those things are dangerous.
Dude, I will say, like, and I've probably said this before, but I have realized, for me, it is cookies. I don't care what they are. If it's a cookie, like, there's nothing easier to grab that is more satisfying than eating a cookie.
This sugary
bring in the cakes, bring in the ice cream, bring in the Doritos, all that stuff. I can leave it for the kids. It's going to be fine. You bring cookies in this house, get out of my way.
Right. Even if it has dried fruit in it, you're still going to eat the cookie. I don't care.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. If it is designed as a cookie, it is going in my face.
Yeah, I am clearly I'm the same way with Nutter Butters, and there's a lot of them. So.
There's like 80 in a pack or whatever. So that's a 10-minute snack.
As we're talking about it, my stomach just growled. Give me another butter.
That may be the fasting. I'm not sure.
It could be. So this is not a big deal for me. I just wouldn't recommend it for anyone else. Like, start, if you're going to do fasting, start with like an intermittent fast. Go, start with somebody like a, 16-8 or something like that. Like, see if you can go 12 or 16 hours and then move into 24 hours and maybe move into 36 hours, but don't just jump into a 36-hour fast.
Yeah.
Unless you're stupid like me.
There's lots of things that you can do for self-care. And it's funny that self-care is something we're talking about today, because I was driving around yesterday and my, the gas tank in the van was on E, right? And like trying to push it as far as I can go. And, we've always heard the airplane analogy of the oxygen mask. Put it on yourself so you can save the person next to you, et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. We've even shifted the conversation about that to the champagne fountain, right? Fill the one up on top so that it can overflow to everyone below. But I think I like the gas tank analogy even better, because as a parent, I'm driving my kids everywhere all the time. And I'm constantly trying to see how far can I go on this tank? Like, can I get it down below the E line? I hate stopping to fill up the tank. It's a pain in the ass. But I realized as I was driving around yesterday, I can do so much more for my family and take them so much farther when the tank is full. So fill up the goddamn tank. Like, don't put yourself through the stress of how much can I squeeze out of what I've got to barely get there and hope everything goes okay. If you can stop and just fill up the tank, stop and take care of yourself, you're going to be able to take care of everyone else around you and help take them on their journey even farther. So that was just a little epiphany that I had yesterday, where I was just like, as much as I hate stuff, because by the way, could paying for gas at a pump be any more complicated? Maybe it's just me, I don't know. But every time I try to use the machine at the pump, because God forbid I have to speak to a human being, it doesn't work. And it pisses me off. So it's the hard thing. And I have to just pull up, accept that it's probably not going to work. I'm probably going to have to go talk to somebody, and that's super annoying to me. But anyways, just fill up the tank. Take care of yourself and get everyone else around you and yourself further by taking care of yourself first.
Yeah. There's something about the gas tank filling up. Like, there's two types of people, right? There's the person who, it's below half a tank, I better go fill it up. And then there's us who are like, well, I might get 5 miles out of this, and the gas station's 7 miles away.
Could I coast the last 2?
There is something about filling up the gas tank. Even if the machine is working right, you simply just tap the card and you pump the gas. There is something about it that drives me insane that I'm just like, I don't want to do it. I just don't want to do it. It's probably more along the lines of spending money for me, but
yeah.
Because I don't know about you, but when I pull up to the gas tank now, it's like $100.
Oh, come visit us in Canada.
So the other thing that I'm playing around with is vagus nerve stimulation. And I don't know if you've seen anything on this, but I have, the vagus nerve is the nerve that calms you down. It's your rest and digest nerve. And we learned about this on one of our shows a long time ago, but it is counterintuitive in that in order to, activate that rest and digest and that calm feeling within your body, you have to stimulate one of your nerves. Right. And it's that nerve that you have to stimulate. So I've been looking online. There's all these cool tools now that you can put around your neck, and it basically attaches to, or it sends pulses and vibrations to your vagus nerve, like outside below your ears. And we had a show a long, long time ago. I think it was an essential oil show.
That was actually episode number 70, which is linked in our show notes for this episode.
And I learned it there, and I'll never forget it, because on my desk where I work every day, this is not where I work every day. I try and keep the podcast separate. I have a bottle of lime essential oil and a bottle of cinnamon. And what you do, and we tried this on my girlfriend and found out that she's really allergic to cinnamon. So if you're allergic to cinnamon, don't do this.
Hard lesson learned.
But what you do is you take lime essential oil and you just rub it behind your ear and a little bit down your ear. Just, like that, the bony, thick tendon part, just like cover that with lime essential oil. What that does is it opens up your pores. And then you put the cinnamon on, and the cinnamon goes in and actually activates your vagus nerve. And it literally, you can feel your heart rate start to drop. You can feel your breathing start to slow down. You can feel the calmness come over you. The only thing I can equate it to is like a Xanax kicking in.
Interesting.
It's crazy. It's really crazy.
I remember that episode where we talked about essential oils. There's one, and I still have it on my desk because I clearly haven't used it enough. But it literally, just smelling it does the same thing. Activates the vagus nerve. And so for the longest time, I carried that bottle around with me because my kids were much younger, and my stress level and my ability to handle it was much much different than it is now. But it was amazing how I would be on the verge of losing my shit and feel in my pocket, there's that tiny little jar. Smell it, and I'd be like, okay, cool. And whether it is that stimulation that does it, but it's also just that moment of separation between the stressor and your response. If you can sort of build something like that in, I think just having that minute to have a beat and go, okay, don't blow up, don't lose your shit. And if you can have the physical response, then it's a double whammy.
Yep, absolutely. But there is science behind it. So sure. Smelling it too, that, yes, it will absolutely do that, but I don't think it's having a direct impact on your vagus nerve and stimulating it the way putting it behind your ear is going to.
Sure.
Don't do too much though, because I did too much in a week once, and I broke out into a rash, and it was a thing. But they do make devices now that you can wear that, the claims that they have on them, and I want to get a hold of one. Actually, we should probably reach out to a couple of them and see if we can get them on the show, because I'd love to learn more about it. But I don't think I realized how stressed out I was. Things have creeped, just a little bit every day, a little bit more here and there, to the point where I'm, really, really stressed out, and I have to do these things again. So, but the vagus nerve stimulation devices, I want to get a hold of one of those and try that out, because I can only go around smelling like cinnamon for so long.
It smells delicious. What's your problem?
It does. And it's so interesting to me how we literally do a show on this stuff. Even I need to be reminded sometimes of some of the basic things that you got to do. we don't all have access. I mean, I don't have access to a gadget, a $300 gadget to, wear around my neck. I do have, cinnamon oil, but that costs money. But there's also like free ways to do this stuff. And it just blows my mind that, again, like you and I, we talk about this stuff all the time. We do a podcast on this stuff all the time. It's always front of mind. And even we forget about it. Just box breathe, man. Like you literally you have the ability to breathe. You do, box breath, inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4, and just if you do that for 5 minutes, that also stimulates your vagus nerve and calms you down and brings you down. So like there's all these things that you can do for free. You can add it, like all this stuff. And it amazes me that even you and I, well, in this case, I forget about this stuff sometimes and, look for that cool tech solution.
Yeah.
I'm brought back to that one, therapist appointment where I was like, I'm going to try this. 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 She's like, what are you trying to solve? And I was like, I don't know. I'm just throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks.
I'm trying to solve this empty pit in my soul that I can't seem to fill with enough Nutter Butters.
Exactly. God damn it. Now I want a Nutter Butter.
This episode brought to you by Nutter Butter. All right, well, if you're anything like us, clearly our lives have been a bit of a shit show lately, and we're now trying to clean it up with some extreme tools and some not so extreme tools. Hopefully some of what we've talked about here has been helpful for you, or maybe you know somebody who's going through some similar struggles as those we've described here. If that's the case, please visit our website, thefitmess.com, and share this episode with them today. That'll really help us accomplish our goal of reaching out to other people just like us to help them improve their lives and their mental health as much as possible. Thanks so much for listening. We will be back next week with a brand new episode at thefitmess.com.
Hey, Ron.
We know this podcast is amazing, and it doesn't seem to lack anything, but we need a legal disclaimer. Prior to implementing anything discussed in this podcast, it is your responsibility to conduct your own research and consult your physician. You should assume that Jeremy and Zach don't know what they're talking about, and they're not liable for any physical or emotional issues that occur directly or indirectly from listening to this podcast.